What we're going to be doing is we're going to be writing linear equations. The two different equations that we're going to work with would be slope-intercept form and point-slope form. We use the slope-intercept form when we have a slope and a y-intercept, and we use the point-slope form when we have a point and we have a slope. Now remember, with the point, our first value is x and our second one is y, and we're going to plug them into the sub 1 for the x and the sub 1 in for the y. So given the information that we have, we're going to decide which equation to use, and then we're going to plug in the information. So we have a slope and a y-intercept, so we're going to use slope-intercept form. We're going to put y equals 1/2 x, and then we're going to put plus 5. Once again, we're putting the 1/2 in for the slope and the 5 in for the y-intercept. Now, letter B, what we have is a slope and a point. So we're going to use point-slope form. We're going to use the y minus 1. Notice that we're subtracting our y sub 1 value equals, our slope is negative 2, and then we're going to go x minus 3. Now, for letter C, we have a slope and a y-intercept, so we're going to use slope-intercept form. Y equals 0x plus 5. Or if you wanted to, you could put y equals 5. Both are correct. Pause the video and try D, E, and F on your own. For letter D, we have a slope and we have a point, so we're going to use point-slope form. Y minus 5 equals 6. And then we have x, and I'm going to put a plus 4. The reason that I'm putting a plus 4 is notice that what we have is negative x. So if my x value is negative and I subtract it, a negative and negative make it a positive. Now for letter E, I have a slope and a point, so I'm using point-slope form. Y plus 1, notice negative and negative is a positive, equals negative 1/4, and then what we have is x plus 2. Once again, a negative and negative make a positive. Now, letter F is a little tricky. It tells us that the slope is undefined. Whenever the slope is undefined, that means it's a vertical line, which we talked about the last lesson. And so it's x equals. And notice that we have an x-intercept. It's negative 1. So our answer is x equals negative 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, except this time what we have are graphs. So notice that it crosses the y-axis. That means we have a y-intercept at 3. Then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out our slope. It goes down 3. It goes to the right 1. So our slope is negative 3 over 1. And our y-intercept is 3, so our equation is negative 3x plus 3. Now for letter H, our slope, it goes up 3. It goes to the right 2. So that means that our slope is 3 over 2. Now there's actually two different equations we could have. Our point is negative 3, 0. So we could write y minus 0 equals 3/2 x plus 3. Or what we could do is we could use this point, which is negative 1 and 3. And that would give us y minus 3 equals 3/2 and then x plus 1. You don't have to write both of them. You just have to write one, and you just decide which one you want to use based on the point. Now, for the next one, notice that it doesn't cross the y-axis, so that means that we're going to use the point-slope form. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my slope. Notice I'm going down 3 and then to the right 1. So that would be a slope of negative 3. And then what I have to do is I have to decide what point that I want to use. If I use the point 2, 3, what I would get is y minus 3 equals negative 3. and then x minus 2. Now, if I use the point 3, 0, then I would get y minus 0 equals negative 3, and then x minus 3. Now, for example 2, what we're going to do is we're going to write the equation in point-slope form. The reason that we're going to write it in point-slope form is because we have a point and a slope. And then we're going to simplify it to slope-intercept form. So we're going to plug it in. Y minus 1 equals 4, x minus 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to simplify it. I'm going to distribute the 4 first. And then I'm going to add the 1. And that gives me my answer, y equals 4x minus 11. Now for letter B, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go y minus 1 equals 1/3. And then x plus 6. Remember, I'm putting a plus because a negative and a negative make a positive. I distribute the 1/3 to each of the terms. Y minus 1 equals 1/3 x. 1/3 of 6 is 2. I add the 1. And that gives me y equals 1/3 x plus 3. Pause the video and try letter C on your own and see how you do. So for letter C, I'm going to put y plus 7 equals negative 5, and then x minus 2. I'm going to distribute the negative 5 to each of the terms. So y plus 7 equals negative 5x plus 10. I subtract the 7, and I get y equals negative 5x plus 3.